one of my favorite topics is star forts, or what is called bastion forts, but now definitely becoming more known as star forts. I like to call them just stars, really, because these things actually have nothing to do with war. As everything else in our realm, it's all been inverted. So today we're going to have a look at Malta, and Malta is the place to go for star forts. It's ridiculous. And of course, no explanation given as to how any of this was created, who built it, when they built it, just nothing really. So let's jump in and have a look at Malta. Okay, so we'll start off at Wikipedia and see what they have to say about Malta. So Malta, officially known as the Republic of Malta and formerly Melita, is a southern European island country consisting of an archipelago in the Mediterranean Sea. It lies about 80 kilometres south of Italy and 284 kilometres east of Tunisia. Malta has been inhabited since approximately 5900 BC. Its location is the centre of the Mediterranean and has historically given it great strategic importance as a naval base, with a succession of powers having consisted and ruled the islands, including the Phoenicians, the Carthaginians, the Romans, Greeks, Arabs, Normans, Aragonese, Knights of St. John, French and British, amongst others. Most of these foreign influences have left some sort of mark on the country's ancient. Malta has had Christians since the time of early Christianity, though it was predominantly Muslim while under Arab rule. At that time, Christians were tolerated. Muslim rule ended with the Norman invasion of Malta by Roger I in 1091. Today, Catholicism is the state religion, but the Constitution of Malta guarantees freedom of conscience and religious worship. So let's go down and check out the history that they give us. The history: Malta has been inhabited since around 5900 BC, since the arrival of the settlers from the island of Sicily, a significant prehistoric Neolithic culture marked by megalithic structures, which date back to 3600 BC. Let's see what they say about the French, as the French were the builders of, the star forts or the bastion forts, along with the Italians, or that is what we are told. And it says the Knights' reign ended with Napoleon, so that would have been the Knights Templar, when Napoleon captured Malta on his way to Egypt during the French Revolutionary Wars of 1798. Over the years preceding Napoleon's capture of the islands, the power of the Knights had declined and order had become unpopular. And as we go through here, there's nothing about forts. So were they built by the Knights Templar? The Grand Master of the Order withstood the siege of Malta by the Ottomans in 1565. The Knights, with the help of the Spanish and Maltese forces, were victorious. After the siege, they decided to increase Malta's fortifications. Okay, so here we go. So speaking of the battle, Voltaire said, "Nothing is better known than the siege of Malta." After the siege, they decided to increase Malta's fortifications, particularly in the inner harbour area where the new city of Valletta stood, named in honour of Valette. They also established watchtowers along the coast. Okay, so they're saying they had this big siege, and after, again, they don't really mention anything, right? They just sort of tell us in prehistoric times, 3,500 years ago, there was some megalithic construction. Then it's just war, invasion, conquest. Then there was the big siege of Malta. They don't talk about the forts in there really. And then they say after that, they decided to increase Malta's fortifications. And we don't get much off that. It just says, fortification is a military construction. So Again, they avoid the questions. They avoid, who built these star forts. And we, on the side here, they'll show us, let's have a look. They'll show us pictures like this. So this is the court building in Valletta. Exactly the same as every other building, right, across the realm. And this says heavily bomb damage in Kingsway in Valletta during, it says the Siege of Malta, 1942. So there's been more than one Siege of Malta. And look at the destruction. They have just, and this is what war and all this stuff is, guys. It's just a front so that they can go in and destroy the old world. That's all we see in war. They just go in and destroy the old architecture. But, Napoleon came and conquered, a few pictures, some nice buildings. Again, they don't really tell us who made any of this stuff, but nothing about star forts, right? Just showing us that everything in Malta is the same as all over the world. I mean, they got everything, right? That megalithic constructions. So Malta is like literally just full of everything, which you'd kind of expect it to be because it is, in the middle of the Mediterranean. Okay, so here's just a couple of the forts, and you'll see this is what Malta is. Now this pic's a little bit small, but you can see it's just all, sort of limestone, sandstone, massive walls, and just built into, or it looks to be built into, the natural rock. But that may be something else. But you can see it's just like literally, built right on top of this irregular rock, and just massive constructions. These are cars. This is just one little fort. And again, look at the size of that cathedral. Another one, right out on the water. You can see this one's even got a tunnel, right? It goes in underneath. You can see that's been cut. And the walls straight just down onto this rock. And again, massive, massive constructions. And again, Malta's an island. Where did all these materials come from? Another one, and it's just covered. This is just a four-sided star. It's covered in them. Really good condition ones too. This is just to show you that, again, the size of these things. Now, this here is a big boat. Right, we've got little, these are all cars. So this is, it's not a cruiser, but it's a fairly big fishing boat. Massive buildings, but look at the size of this wall. I mean, come on. And the story we get is what they just increased fortifications. Back in the 1500s, no tools, no electricity, no cranes, no heavy machinery. But they were doing this. And again, where did all the material come from? Another view from the top, you can see obviously lots of it's been turned into, boating and ports and stuff. But just out here again, you can see man-made cuts here, shapes and designs into the rock. And this just built straight onto the rock. No problem at all. And you can see everywhere. You can see the walls all around here going down. One big star fort. Okay, again, straight into the water, tunnels cut. This looks, it looks like they've filled in a hole. Maybe it was a natural crevice or an old cut and they've filled it in a bit. Got windows, where do they go to? And these massive walls. I mean, the size of this place is ridiculous. These are little people here. So just so much material, right? And just everywhere. So who really did build these star forts? That's the question. Who really built all these constructions? Because, apart from the fact that, I mean, the size and the symmetry, how specific they are geometrically, apart from all that, and the fact they had no tools, right? they build them in the most difficult places possible, like right on the coast. And some of them literally go into the water. Another gate, right? Always got the arched gates, or the arc gate. I've got twin pillars here. Twin pillars. And this, again, this is not what we think it is. This is all like to do with an electrical circuit. And look at the wall. You can see this being plugged up. All bricks of some kind, fairly big ones, different sizes, you know, irregular shapes, polygonal walls, all that kind of stuff in Malta. This is inside one. So again, just to show you the size, these are, you know, this is a big tree. These aren't that tall, but you know, this is just huge. And this is just one little bit of one of the forts. And there's heaps of them. So many that they literally all connect up. This is a shot of one of the bigger ones out on the peninsula. You can just see down here at the size. This is a major road going up here. And look at these, the walls here. A massive cruise ship. You can see that, you know, it's like the length of this wall. So, you know, this is high-tech construction done by an advanced civilization, not done by people running around, you know, fighting each other with no tools. So there you go, just a bit of a look at the island of Malta, basically one big star fort. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. Look around, yeah, star forts, right? And again, these things are everywhere, all over the realm. Malta just happens to be pretty much the star fort capital. So hope you enjoyed that one. Thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.